build a machine that computes and never forgets. Every step reversible, run it backwards and you land exactly where you started. A theorem of Landauer says such a machine dissipates nothing at all. It can add, sort and correlate all day and stay stone cold. But the moment you read a result and reset the register to take the next measurement, a fixed minimum of heat must leave into the room. So here is the puzzle of this chapter. The substrate of the first 3 chapters is exactly such a lossless engine, where in a universe made of one deterministic rotor lattice, does that heat live? One thing before we begin. Advaita Chakra Theory is a speculative, exploratory framework, not established, peer-reviewed physics. Much of what follows is honest conjecture that still needs validation. Watch it in that spirit as ideas to test, argue with, and refute. Start with the one axiom that does all the work. The substrate is deterministic and reversible, a point in phase space pushed along by Hamilton's equations. That single fact has a famous consequence. The flow is a symplectic map, and the determinant of its Jacobian is exactly 1 everywhere. Picture a droplet of phase space, a little cloud of possible states. As the flow carries it, the droplet stretches, shears, folds into the thinnest filament you like. But its area never changes. Not approximately. Exactly. And that is the whole reason a measurement can cost something later, because a map with unit Jacobian preserves information. Distinct states stay distinct, the dynamics is invertible, and the flow produces no entropy whatsoever. Now discretize it because a processor runs on ticks. The canonical choice is the velocity Verlet leapfrog, kick the momentum half a step, drift the position a full step, kick the momentum again. Here is the beautiful part. Each of those 3 moves is a shear, it changes one variable using only the other, and a shear has unit Jacobian exactly. So their composition is exactly symplectic and exactly volume preserving. Not to some order in the step size. Identically, for any step size at all, it is exactly reversible to flip the momentum, run the same gate, flip back, and you have the inverse. The discrete engine inherits both structural facts of the continuous one and inherits them as identities, not approximations. Only the energy is approximate, the gate conserves a nearby shadow Hamiltonian, so the true energy wobbles in a narrow band and never drifts. That absence of drift is how you recognize a genuine reversible engine inside a simulation. Now the reframe that names the chapter. Read the state as data, the contents of a register at tick n. Read the gate as the instruction, one fixed, reversible operation applied over and over. Then the lattice is not merely described by a computation. It is a register, a clock, and a single instruction repeated. And because the gate is invertible, the data at any tick determines the data at every other tick, forwards and backwards. Nothing is created and nothing is lost. Physics, read as data processing, is a perfectly conservative machine. So assemble it. The flow dissipates nothing, unit Jacobian, invertible, entropy neutral. A substrate left to itself, however long it computes, releases no heat at all. Landauer's principle then locates the only operation that must. Erasing a bit, resetting a register to a standard state, whatever it held, is a 2-to-1 map. 2 possible histories, 1 outcome. No volume-preserving flow can ever do that, and by the previous result the substrate flow never does. So the phase space volume that vanishes from the register has to reappear in the environment as at least kBt log 2 of heat per erased bit. This is the seam of the whole theory. Reversible physics is the flow. Irreversible physics, an arrow of time, a thermodynamic bill, a permanent record, is the reset. Which raises the sharp question: in a universe of pure reversible flow, whatever performs a reset? There is exactly one candidate. Coarse graining, projecting the full microstate onto a macroscopic record, which is precisely what a measurement is. Many microstates are consistent with the pointer reading y, and all of them are collapsed to that single record. That is a many-to-one map, and it is the only one in the theory. So the entire thermodynamic bill of physics is paid at measurement, and the reversible flow between measurements is free. Note carefully what is and is not being claimed. This does not predict a new value for that heat. It predicts the textbook value. What it adds is where the value applies, at the coarse grain, and nowhere else. And this is the bridge the chapter was built to lay. Part 6 reads the entire measurement problem as one object. The substrate is a reversible symplectic sampler. Run it forward from a typical starting condition, then read it out, and the outcomes arrive distributed as the Born weight, the modulus of psi squared. Iterating the gate is free. The readout is the one-costed step. The relaxation to that distribution is a sub-quantum H theorem, Complementarity becomes the statement that a partial reset buys partial coherence, and the network capacity counts how many reversible layers compose before the resets accumulate. Now, the discipline, imported early because it governs everything here, the substrate is a legitimate physical sampler, but it is not claimed to be a faster or more capable computer than any other. No computational advantage is asserted. The engine is reversible and universal in the ordinary sense, and that is all. Put a number on it. Take 10,000 rotors and evolve them for 1,000,000 ticks. Under the reversible gate that costs, in principle, nothing at all. Now read out one bit. At room temperature, the Landauer floor is about 2.9 times 10 to the minus 21 joules, roughly 0.018 electron volts. 10,000 rotors, 1,000,000 ticks free. One bit of record, 18 thousandths of an electron volt. That asymmetry, a vanishing cost for the dynamics and a floor cost for the readout, is the signature of the deterministic engine, and it is the seam that the measurement chapters develop. Next chapter, we go back to the cone and ask what happens when the medium is not the same in every direction, when light itself splits in two. A word of acknowledgement. This work was inspired in part by the non-dual teachings of Sri Narayana Guru, that the creator, the creation, and the substance of creation are fundamentally one. Symbols from the Hindu tradition, the Sudarshan chakra and the Shivalinga, suggested the analogies behind the chakra model. They are acknowledged as philosophical and symbolic inspiration. The physics stands on its own. Thank you for watching. If this made you think, the book and the next chapter are linked below. Until then, one substance and how far it reaches.